Yo, everyone, it's JP Sims here, and you're listening to my boy, Lewis Carlin, on the Pro Wrestling Personified podcast, the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network. Don't miss an episode. Listen to it. He's great. The listen's great. You're not going to regret it. Lewis Carlin on the Pro Wrestling Personified podcast for the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network. Don't miss an episode.
Hello and welcome to the Pro Wrestling Personified podcast. I'm your host, Lewis Carlin, and we are part of the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network. And very excited today. A very good friend of mine is making his return to the Pro Wrestling Personified podcast. He's been here before, and I'm glad he's here again. Please help me welcome Atlantic Canada superstar, future superstar as well, JP Sims. JP, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, brother, how you doing? Thanks for having me, man. It's good to be back.
Hey, it's always good to have you. It's always good to talk to you, man. First off, the last time we spoke, I want to say this on the air, and I forgot. I want to thank you, because I know you're, I took Personified from you. I know your band is Personified, and I call the show Pro Wrestling Personified. I got your permission, and I just want to publicly thank you for that, for letting me use the tag Personified in the podcast. So I appreciate that, man.
No problem, man. No problem at all. I appreciate you asking when you did. And you know what? It's got a really good buzz to it. And that was a really good call on your part to come up with that. It sounds great. And now every time you say it, it's got a really good buzz to it.
Yeah, so Mr. Badness Personified is on the Pro Wrestling Personified podcast. So that's awesome, man. So what have you? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, so it's good to be here.
Yeah, no, it's awesome to have you as always, man. So what have you been up to since the last time we spoke, man?
Oh man, just staying busy. Fatherhood, that keeps me busy for sure, and love being a dad, and just been working and wrestling and just staying on the grind, man.
Yeah, so how's you mentioned fatherhood. I know your son is growing quick. And I know you mentioned that he's starting to crawl, he's starting to walk, and when he starts to walk, that's when the trouble starts. So what's it like? What's it like, watching, this little baby grow every day right before your eyes, man?
Man, it's honestly, it's the most amazing feeling in the world, and, I couldn't be any happier to be a father, and, I love looking forward to seeing him every day, when I wake up, when I come home from work, and, even at the wrestling shows. He's been at 5 or 6 shows now this year, and with the exception of the first show, because he was only 8 weeks old at the time, and he's been awake. And he's the last show he was laughing away and smiling and slept the whole entire show until my match. So it's a really cool feeling, and like you said, seeing him grow every day, like there's nothing that can compare to it. It's crazy to think that before I know it, he'll be walking. And the last time we spoke, he was only maybe at most 3 months old, so goes fast.
No, it does go fast. My daughter is 14 years old, and trust me, it goes really, really fast. And when he starts walking, you're going to be in a lot of trouble, because he's gonna want to get into everything he can get his hands on. So just something to look out for. He seems like he has a lot of energy as well, and he's your son, so he's gonna run around. He's probably gonna start, simulating his teddy bear and probably suplexing a few of his dolls. So the trouble starts. Yeah. The trouble's gonna start soon, but it's great. It's great watching them grow for sure, man. So
absolutely, man.
So how are things in the Atlantic Canada scene right now? I know a lot of things are going on with IHW and UCW. I know you have some stuff coming up with Julien Young. So what's going on out there in Atlantic Canada?
Man, things are great in Atlantic Canada. It's popping right now. And like as you mentioned, UCW and IHW have been killing it this year. Lots of shows, lots of solid shows, most importantly, top to bottom. And, it's been really good. It's been one of the better years that we've had in a long time. And, huge credit, to UCW and IHW for really busting their asses and pulling in big audiences and like I said, solid matches from top to bottom. And yeah, I got Julien Young next weekend for the UCW show, and then the weekend after in IHW, I'll also be in the ring with Julien. So it's going to be a good time for sure.
That seems to be the hot feud. It seems like every time, well, not every time, but most of the matches you're having is against Julien Young. And I know you guys have some tremendous matches, but that seems to be the hot feud right now. How long do you think that feud's going to last until it's time to move on to something else? I know you recently took on Chip Chambers in an excellent match, but how long do you think the Julien Young feud is going to go on for?
You know what? That's a good question. We thought that it could do good, but we didn't. I don't think anybody anticipated it to be quite as over as it was. And it was one of those things that just kind of took on a life of its own. And I mean, I know that the long-term plan was in IHW anyway, was for us to have a program in the UCW. And we did wrestle earlier in the year, but it wasn't until the later summer that they also put me in a storyline with Julien. But it was one of them things that it just took on a life of its own. And it's a lot of fun working him. And just honestly, it's been a great experience. And I've been getting some of the best pops and like the best heat that I've been getting. So we have been doing a lot, but it's been great. And I figure the New Year's getting ready to end. The shows for the year, of 2017 will be ending next week or December 1st after that IHW show. So, I figure probably blow it off early in the new year and probably go on to other things because I will be wrestling the Hurricane on one of the up-and-coming UCW tours coming up. So, yeah.
Well, that's Hurricane Helms. That's right. So you'll be taking on Hurricane Helms. How did that come about? That's going to be a great match as well. You said that's on a UCW show or an IHW show?
Yes, UCW.
Okay.
Chuck told me, the promoter told me at the last show that I'd be wrestling the Hurricane, and he talked about it earlier in the year. So it was one of those things I didn't expect it. I didn't know the lineup that he was bringing it in or anything. So when he announced it at the show, that was the first time I'd heard it at the last show. So, it's going to be a good time, man. I did a show with Hurricane probably about 5-6 years ago, and he was a great guy. So, looking forward to having him down for a tour and many other wrestlers on that tour, of course. It's going to be a good one. It's the April tour.
Okay. Well, yeah, definitely something to look forward to. I'm hoping that, and I know Dave Boyce, I had spoke to him a few weeks ago. I mentioned that UCW should get on iPay-per-view or the Fight app so everyone can see the matches because I have to wait for a YouTube video to come out, and he said baby steps. So hopefully in 2018, you guys will be on the Fight app. So I could watch you guys live, or I could watch it like the next day. So any word on that? Do you know if that might be happening, or you wouldn't know about that?
No, I don't know anything about that, but that's a great idea, and that's something that I could definitely see happening, and that would be great for the Maritimes and obviously great for all the workers around here. And like you said, you'd be able to watch it live. You wouldn't have to wait a week or a couple of weeks for somebody to upload it online. I think that would be really good for Atlantic Canada.
Yeah, because it's usually I don't know, unless I'm mistaken, usually like you gotta wait for, I know Madison Miles, the wrestler, I think she has her own channel. I think she uploads all the videos on her channel. So like I'm always checking to see if she's uploaded the matches. So definitely, if they get on the Fight app, that would be fantastic. Or, I think there's something called Powerbomb TV, which would be fantastic. I mean, the world needs to see JP Sim, so they gotta get that going, man. I mean, I already know how great you are, but everyone needs to see it, man.
I appreciate it, man, and I agree. It's time for the world and everybody to see. And, that would be a huge start for sure.
So are you officially signed with IHW? I know there was a one night signing, but are you full time with them now, or is what's happening with IHW?
Yeah, I signed a full time contract on one of the show they did in Moncton, New Brunswick back in September. I know, as you mentioned a couple months earlier, that it was just the one time contract, and then a couple months later on, it was extended to a full time wrestling contract. So, lots more shows, lots more matches, and more chances to kick Julien's ass. So, I love it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I like the way you first came in. You were showing up with tequila, and you weren't supposed to be there. But that was great. So was that whose idea was that? Because that was great stuff. When you just showing up, you weren't supposed to be there, and they were chasing you out. But whose idea was it to come up with that?
I think it was a combination of Julien Young and Kevin Tyler, I believe. It was one of those things that we talked about for a while, but nothing was really in stone. And then probably about a month before the show, we talked about it, and it was honestly, it couldn't have been done any better. It was one of the best ways for anybody to be introduced back into a company, in my opinion. There couldn't have been a better way to bring me in. Julien Young said it best. He said just bringing you in to have another wrestling match doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything for you. And, for somebody like me to be introduced in that manner not only helped redevelop my character and help me get over even more, but it was a completely different JP Sims in front of a different crowd, having the tequila, as you mentioned, and having a couple cronies sitting around, sitting on one side of me, that was, it was so much fun. And I still remember, before, we did it, saying we thought that it would get a good reaction, but like I said, we didn't expect it to be that big of a reaction. So when I walked out there, the first thing I said when I walked in there with the tickets and stuff like that, my street clothes, was like, hopefully, they remember me and they know who I am, and and talking the shit on the page and stuff like that. Hopefully, when I walk in there, I know there's people there that'll know who I am, but I know it's going to be a big crowd, and I hope everybody does, and it was a very big house, and as soon as I walked in there and everybody turned around and see me, and of course the booze broke out, all I could do was smile, and we knew right away that we had something, and it was a lot of fun, and got to drink tequila and sit at ringside, and what a better way to get introduced.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you recruited me to play a small part in getting you some legitimate heat by all those posts that you wanted me to put on the Twitter page.
Yes, and I appreciate that, man. Yeah. I appreciate that, and it was funny because when we and you talked about it initially. I told you, those people are going to start jumping on you as soon as you fend for me, and you'll be the only one. And sure enough, you messaged me, and there's probably 5 to 10 people all just jumping on you and me and saying, burying you for having an opinion of me. And, even when they didn't even know, just you saying that, you enjoyed my work and stuff, gave them all the reason in the world to start burying the hell out of you. It was great.
No, it was great. It was more than 5. It was 20, 25 people.
Yeah.
As soon as I would post that, IHW doesn't deserve JP Sims, and everybody was just jumping on me, going, JP Sims sucks, and he doesn't belong here, and just they were, and I remember.
Oh yeah, telling you don't know anything about wrestling and whatnot.
And it was fun, and that's that. I'm glad I was able to help. I think that added to the heat, and I do remember it was JP. They're all getting on me. What's going on here? I knew a few. I thought a few, but I wasn't expecting so many people. And then you would jump in, and then more people would jump in. But it was great stuff, man.
Great. Yeah, it was, man. We would get notifications for days. Those threads would go on for days at a time, man. Every time I went to work.
I remember those. They would kept popping in the notifications, and I was like, "Wow, he's going to get some. He's getting some really big heat here." But that was great. So see, I need to come down. I need to be your manager, man. I need to come out there. I need to walk you down the aisle one time, man. I know we talked about it last time, but I want to be your manager, man. I think I could do it, man.
Absolutely, man, and that was just a small part. I think that was a good test, and we were able to do it online. So imagine what we could do in front of a crowd. I just think that was a perfect seed planted, and it would be awesome if you ever even managed me once here in Nova Scotia, and obviously elsewhere, but just to do it in Nova Scotia, that would be so ideal. Yeah. Even in Moncton, that would be just. Great.
I would just cut this promo on all the Atlantic Canada fans. I would just get some serious heat, and I would challenge everybody, and anyone come to the ring, then I would call my boy JP Sims, and you would just simulate them, man.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And you tell all them people that hate on JP Sims that they don't know what they're talking about.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, that's right, man. That's right. No. But again, that was fun. I was hoping. Again, I hope I get to do that again. I hope, yeah. Well, I was going to ask you about Impact Wrestling, but like if you ever go into Impact Wrestling, I hope I can help you get some legitimate heat, like in Impact Wrestling or the WWE.
Yes, man.
I'm sorry?
I said, yes, man. Hell yeah. We'll get it done.
Let's talk about Impact. I want to ask you, now that Impact Wrestling, they're moving up to Ottawa. Their head offices are going to be in Ottawa, and they're going to be filming shows, from what I understand, all across Canada. How do you feel about that? What's going through your mind? I mean, do you want to get on that? Do you want to get involved with that? Or it must be an exciting time, because I know Marcus Burke had a tryout. Tyson Dukes was there. But how do you feel about Impact Wrestling coming up to Canada?
Man, it's very exciting. It's a huge opportunity for obviously Canadian wrestlers and other people in Canada that are trying to get noticed and want to get to that next level. It's a great opportunity for wrestlers like myself and lots of other people, as you mentioned, in Atlantic Canada. I think it's going to be really good, and it's different, and I think that's going to be what's going to work. And having a head office in Canada, that's just absolute opportunity right there.
How do you think you would do in the X division if you're in Impact Wrestling and they put you in the X division?
I think I'd do good. I think I'd do fine in the X division. I can work any kind of style matches, so it's not just a slow pace. I can work fast paced matches as well. So I think the X division would be ideal. I think it'd be a great opportunity.
Did you see Burke's appearance on Impact Wrestling by chance?
No, I didn't. I haven't watched Impact in years.
Oh man, now you hurt my feelings, man. I do an Impact Wrestling podcast. I'm a huge fan, man. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to travel out there, and we're gonna have to have a one-on-one match. And
I don't want to have to simulate you, man.
No. I don't want to be simulated. We'll remain allies. I'll let that pass. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
No, it really wasn't much. I personally think that they should give him an opportunity. I think he'll be great in Impact Wrestling. But it was a quick match. He was in with OVE. A lot of Canadian wrestlers, they have a golden opportunity right now, such as yourself, with Impact Wrestling. So I know you have a relationship with Kurt Angle. What's your relationship like with Kurt Angle these days?
Man, it's been great. I've been very fortunate to have been able to stay in touch with him for the last year and a half since I did that show with him here in Halifax, April of 2016, and talk to him a couple times a month, stay in touch with him, and I always let him know how my matches are going and how training's going, and he's been a great support, and he's been very, very, very good in telling me what I should do and what I need to do to get to that next level, and he was very good in encouraging me to step my game up, get in better shape, and and jump on the ball, and I did that, and I lost almost 30 pounds, and I started really hitting it hard and feeling great, and I felt better than I have in a long time, and he's been very encouraging with that. And when I talked to him about 4 months ago there, I'd mentioned to him that WWE was coming to Halifax, and that I'd like to get noticed, if they were to have use any extras or anything like that. And he told me to send him a copy of my highlight tape, and that he would pass it in, and that he couldn't guarantee me anything, but he'd pass it in and off to talent relations and go from there. And I ended up making a new 2017 highlight video. My buddy did it for me, and I sent that to Kurt, and he said he would submit it to the WWE. So I just got my fingers crossed right now, man, that eventually I'll hear back if they ever need or have any interest. And they do a lot of runs in Canada, so it could be a good opportunity for me to show them what I'm capable of.
No, absolutely, man. Well, good luck. I wish you luck there. So I'm sorry. They're when will they be in Halifax? They're coming, or they've already been in Halifax?
No, that was a couple months ago when they were coming to Halifax. Was when I initially mentioned it to him. But what I ended up doing was just making a new highlight video, or like say, get my buddy to make me one and giving it to him to submit to the WWE, and not just necessarily for the show that was in Canada, but just in general. And, like I said, they go to Canada every year, so maybe even next year, be a good opportunity. And I'm very grateful for having that relationship with Kurt and the fact that he's willing to do that for me. I'm very grateful for that and appreciative of it. And it obviously shows that, he wouldn't do that if he didn't see something in me. So, it just goes to show that the hard work is paying off.
So I'm going to put you on the spot right now, man. Sorry, I'm going to have to do it, man. So when are you going to get me Kurt Angle for the podcast?
I don't know, man. He's a busy guy, He's general manager of Raw, and he's he's definitely keeping himself busy traveling the world again. So, I don't know. I'll see what I can do. But
I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, just kidding. But if he can swing it, man, he'd be more than welcome on the podcast. But
yes, I'd hope so.
Yeah. Now, I want to go back to UCW for a second because I forgot I had a few more questions. They're having a War Games match. Are you going to be involved in that War Games match?
I don't know. I'd like to be. It's definitely something I didn't expect, and pretty exciting news to hear. I was kind of shocked by it. But 5-on-5. I mean, you can't have a War Games 5-on-5 match and not have JP Sims in it. I mean, if you're going to put top guys in that match, and which I would think that they're doing, you gotta think JP Sims on Team Martin.
Yeah. So what? Actually, what's going on between Team Boyce and Team Martin? Are they? I really can't find much. Are they feuding with each other, or is there an internal division going on at UCW? What's happening there?
Yeah, it was the last. It was a show before the last one that they just did a couple weeks ago there, where they started a program, and the company's been kind of cut into half. That's why Julien Young got suspended and reinstated. Chuck suspended him for putting his hands on Reginald Birch, and it's become that rivalry of Dave Boyce and his wrestlers against Chuck and his wrestlers. So it's cool. It's different, and that's what you got to do. You got to spice it up. And War Games. I mean, hell, who would have expected that? That was really cool.
Yeah, so you would be on Team Martin then if you were involved with that then.
I would think so because I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't go Team Boyce. I think I'd go Team Martin and let Dave pick his cronies.
All right, well there you go, man. Well, I hope you're involved in that match. So are they going to get a double ring, or is it going to be one ring, or well, you're not sure yet because normally in War Games is a double ring. And they put
I was told it's going to be a double ring.
Wow.
So I assume that that's still the plan, and that's going to be really cool to see.
Yeah, no. I hopefully it'll be on Fight App by then because I'm looking forward to that.
Yes.
Absolutely for sure. Now there's another wrestler that I absolutely love in Atlantic Canada. A big fan, and I'm going to ask, when is JP Sims going one-on-one with Covey Christ? I love Covey Christ. I think he's very talented. So when is JP Sims, or not even sure if it happened yet or not, but I would love to see you against Covey Christ. When do you think that might happen?
It's hard to say right now. With the directions that we're both in right now, he is one of the only guys in the Maritimes that I haven't wrestled recently, and I've been a couple fatal 4-ways or whatever, but not one-on-one. And until last year, Chip Chambers was another guy that I'd never stepped in the ring with one-on-one. I've had 2 one-on-one matches with him now, and same thing, a couple fatal 4-ways. But I think down the road with time, I think a JP Sims Covey Christ match would be in order. I just don't think that. At the moment that we're going opposite directions, in terms of storylines and healing it up kind of thing. So I'm sure down the road it'll happen. He'll take a simulator. So
he might ask me to actually pray for you. Actually, when I interviewed Chip Chambers, he wanted me to tell Chip Chambers that I should pray for him. So he'll probably ask people to pray for you. But when you go one-on-one with Covey Christ, I think that's going to be a phenomenal match.
Well, you can pray for a simulator. So.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll taste what a simulator is like. So besides Covey Christ, are there any other talents out there in Atlantic Canada that you would like to face that you haven't faced yet, or you have faced in the past and you would like to face again?
Yeah, man. There's a lot. I'd like to step back in the ring with Titus eventually. Me and Titus had some great matches a couple of years ago there, when Wrestle Center first started around that time ish, and I think me and him could have lots and lots more of great ones. There's a lot of guys that be a good opportunity to get in the ring with. That I haven't been in the ring with often, even though, like I said, I did just wrestle Chip Chambers. We've only had a couple of matches. He's another guy that I'd love to, have a program with, and I think me and him could have a ton of killer matches. And yeah.
What about getting in the ring with Marcus Burke again? I know you guys had that little feud going on, which was great. I would love to see you in the ring with Marcus Burke again.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we had a couple good matches there earlier in the year, and I think definitely saying as well that there's great opportunities in the future for me and him to recontinue that storyline and have a couple more great matches.
Now, you've been in Atlantic Canada. That's where you've been situated for quite some time. Is there going to be a point where you say, I've done all I can here in Atlantic Canada as a pro wrestler? It's time for me to move elsewhere, like to Toronto with my boy Lewis. But I know you have the family now, so it's not that easy just to get up and go. But have you ever thought about that maybe it's time to move on and move to another area as a pro wrestler?
Most definitely, man. It's definitely something that's been on my mind for the past couple of years, and it's like you said, it's one of those situations. I do have a family now, and it's just timing and the right time, the right place, the right situation. The right guarantees for what I'm going to be able to get out of what I'm doing. It's one of those things now where, as you mentioned, I have to think about my family as well and what's best for all of us, and I think that time will come, and when it does, I'm gonna show everybody what's up.
So like if Kurt Angle calls you, say he calls you tomorrow and says, we need you down in Florida by the end of the week, are you just going to drop everything and go? Or are you just going to take off and go? Or how would you react to that if you got such a phone call from Kurt Angle?
Oh, if I got a call saying that, and they'd wanted me in Florida in a week, I'd be there, because that would be the opportunity where you would get your tryout. It wouldn't be the first. Yeah. It wouldn't be like you have to take your stuff and move next week. If they said to me, we want you in Florida and we want to try out, I would be there so fast. So I'd do whatever I had to do to get there. I'd make sure I got there, and that's a guarantee.
I think you just hang the phone down and just start running to Florida as fast as you can.
Yeah, Joe, get that extra cardiovascular.
Just get that cardio in. Got to run down to Florida.
Yeah.
So, back to Kurt Angle. I know he's getting back in the ring. So what's your opinion of him getting back in the ring? I was reading that he might be taking on Triple H again, but what's your opinion on seeing him in the ring again?
I think it's awesome. It's one of those things that you never really thought that you would see, and I shouldn't say you never thought you would see, but it was, for a couple of years there, I think it was questionable if everybody wanted Kurt to have that one last match, but I don't know if anybody ever thought that it was actually going to happen. And to see him back in the WWE, inducted in the Hall of Fame, where he belonged, was huge. And then when he became the general manager and fans got to see him on a weekly basis, I think that was also a huge deal. And then to see him in the ring and do the 3-on-3 deal at the last pay-per-view it was great. And for him to finally get that one-on-one match at WrestleMania with possibly Triple H, I think that's super exciting, man. And he could still go. He looks great, and he could still work. And him and Triple H they'd have a great match again, like they've had many over the years.
Is Kurt Angle ever going to feel a simulator? He did. I know when he was up there at Wrestle Center. I don't think you simulated him. I know you kicked him low. But you think he'll ever experience a simulator?
I think so. I think it'd be a good way to thank him for all he's done for me. I think that it's only in order that I shake his hand and thank him for all the opportunities, and obviously do that in the ring, drop with a simulator, and hopefully continue on that heel heat.
Yeah, that's something to look forward to, man. I hope I'm in the ring with you when you do it. So that'll be That'll be awesome. But no, but in all seriousness, though, that'd be great. Like, if he brings you in and, like I know Jason Jordan, his quote unquote son, if he brings you in like you're, like his, someone he's training to be a pro wrestler and then you just turn on him and hit him with a simulator, that would be really cool. That would be really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. I think that would get over.
Yeah, no, it would. It would. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned you lost 30 pounds. So, like, what kind of workout regimen are you doing that you lost 30 pounds?
No, I really stepped up all avenues. My cardio. I really stepped up my cardio, and the most important thing, I stepped up my diet. Man, I started eating better, eating cleaner, and really focusing on that made a huge difference. And I started running outdoors again with the better weather, and I started doing my runs 5 days a week outdoors, and that I found that was really good for trimming down and really good for the lungs in the ring. And I just started hitting the weights harder, and I feel like I did a couple of years ago. I got that my old look back, and it's a good feeling, and I feel a lot looser when I'm in the ring and in the gym. And like diet, man, that's definitely was the biggest part, was having a cleaner diet, and at home and at work, stuff like that. And working now that I do some night shifts as well at work and stuff, it's good to eat clean and portion your meals when you're going to be up all night. So that played a big part as well.
So you don't do what I do and order a pizza a whole pizza from Little Caesars and just eat the whole thing in one shot. You're not doing that like I do, right?
Well, no, I mean, you gotta have cheat days, man. Hey, I'll eat pizza.
No, pizza's the best. I mean, I could live on pizza, man. I could eat that 24/7, man. If pizza was the only food on the face of the planet, I'd be just fine, man. I'd be liquefying it. I'd be blending it. I'd be making pizza smoothies. I'd be doing all sorts of stuff.
That'd be healthy, dude. Yeah, that'd be good, man. Then you'd be ready for the ring. Then we'd be able to do a tag match or something. You and me against against two other guys. You keep that diet up, then I think you'd be ready for a moonsault up the top rope.
Yeah, no, a 450 splash I could do, man.
Yeah, there you go. Even better.
Oh man. So, what was what's your proudest moment so far in professional wrestling up until this date?
I would have to say wrestling AJ Styles for 24 minutes was definitely my proudest accomplishment, and something that I'm definitely the most proud of. Absolutely, hands down.
So what's it like, AJ Styles in the WWE? I think I might have touched upon this on the last podcast, but I always like to hear your answer on this. But I know he's been WWE champion twice now, and when you're sitting at home watching him on TV, and you're thinking, well, I went toe to toe with the current WWE champion, how proud does that make you feel? It must make you feel like just absolutely fantastically proud.
Oh, it does, man. It's no matter how many times I see him wrestling, it never gets old, that thought of saying, man, like as you mentioned, I went toe-to-toe with that guy, man, for 25 minutes. I wrestled him, and I hung, and I showed that I could be just as good as anybody else. And that was the goal initially when I stepped into the ring with him. I said, this is my time. This is a make-it-or-break-it moment. And I'm going to show everybody that if I can hang with AJ Styles, I'll show that I can hang with anybody. So, every time that I see AJ Styles have, a 5-star match, all I can think is, I hung with him, and someday I'm going to be on that big platform doing the exact same thing, because that's just the way it is, and it's just a very motivating feeling, and it never gets old. So, it's really cool to see how far he's come and to be able to say, hey, 3 years ago, I stepped in the ring with that guy, and really cool.
So do you stay in contact with him as well, or not as much, or not at all?
No, unfortunately, I never had any contact with him since the match, but I'd seen him a couple times because he'd been down here. But other than that, I unfortunately never got to stay in contact with him after the show. After that match, like I said, he did come down, I think, 2 other times. So at least I got to see him on those other 2 occasions, but that was it.
All right. Now I want to go to the NWA now for a bit. I know the NWA is making a big comeback with Billy Corgan, and they put out a tweet, and we spoke about this online, challenging any wrestler to step up to take on their champion Tim Storm. What's your opinion on the NWA stepping up and trying to make some noise? And what do you? Is that a promotion you consider working for, the NWA? Should the opportunity present itself?
Yeah, man, most definitely. I think it's cool. I think it's awesome that there's another promotion that's trying to step it up, and compete with, WWE, Impact Wrestling, ROH, etc. Like, I think that again, another big opportunity for wrestlers like myself and other independent workers that want to get noticed. And get to that next level and get seen by the right people, seen by the right workers and seen by the people that are going to help get you to that next level. And NWA's got the name recognition. And, I think if they take the right steps, then, I think it can do well. And, especially for guys like me.
So what happens if you get a call from Dave Lagana or Billy Corgan, and they say, we want you to be we want you to be the next challenger for Tim Storm? What happens in that match? Do you simulate Tim Storm and you become the next NWA champion? So yes. What happens there?
Well, I would simulate him, and then I would simulate Billy Corgan and Dave Lagana, and I'd take my contract and I'd sign it, and I'd go to the next level, man.
I would absolutely love to see Billy Corgan get simulated by JP Sims. So
I think that would be awesome.
No, that would be awesome. That would be. You get some massive heat if you did that, man. So Billy Corgan, man, if you're listening, give JP a call. He wants to simulate you, and I want to see it. So let's get that done, man.
Let's make it happen.
Imagine JP Sims NWA champion, man. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be awesome, man. That would be a big step, and that would it would be a huge opportunity to move to that next level.
So what do you do when you're not wrestling? What do you do for downtime when you're at home? I know you have the family, but what do you do for when you're home? What do you do for recreation when you're not in the ring wrestling?
Like you mentioned, family. I got spend time with my family and my son and my girlfriend. There's lots of stuff that I can do on my weekends when I'm not wrestling. I take full advantage of it, and we like to go out and do things. I'm very hands-on kind of guy. I like to stay active and not the kind of person just to sit at home. Although it's always nice to sit at home and just relax. But I like to go and I like to do things when I'm not working wrestling or working my shoot job. It's always nice to take an opportunity. The Maritimes is a very nice place, and there's lots to do here in Halifax. So it just really depends. And depends on the weather too with Braden. So whenever it's nice weather, we take advantage of it. Like I went out today, it's a little chilly, but bright sunny day. Figured might as well get Braden out while it's early because he has us up at 6 every morning. So might as well take full advantage of the morning.
Sure, no, absolutely, man, absolutely. So 2018 is coming. It's right around the corner. 2 months away, less than 2 months away. So, what are you hoping 2018 brings for JP Sims?
Same thing that I've been hoping every year that I've been in the business, with the exception of this year. I've gotten a lot further. Having that contact and connection with Kurt Angle, and I want a WWE tryout. Or I want to try out in one of the feds. No matter where it is, I want to get in contact with one of the top promotions, and I want to get noticed, and I want to show everybody that JP Sims can take it to the next level, and not only can he will take it to the next level, and that's what I want to do.
Well, it'd be great. I know we talked about it earlier at Impact Wrestling. This could be a golden opportunity, man. They're up here, and they're not just, from what I understand, they're not just filming. They're not filming their TV shows in Ottawa. They're going all over Canada. So they could show up in the Halifax area. They could show up anywhere, man. So I would love to see you on Impact Wrestling. I know there was one guy, I can't remember. Is there a referee called Squishy, something like that, who works out there?
Yeah, Squishy.
Yeah, I think I couldn't agree. I think he was on there as a security guard, but yeah, anything. I think you would be fantastic there. I think you would thrive in the X division. I've been saying that for a number of years now. But yeah, so I hope you get your opportunity there, and I hope they call you from the WWE as well. I think you'll do well down at the Performance Center. But what do you think? Like, if you had, I don't want to put you on a spot. You don't want to answer. That's okay. But if you had an Impact contract and a WWE contract, and I don't want you to get anybody upset, but what would I'm assuming you would take the WWE contract over the Impact Wrestling contract.
Yeah, it's safe to say I'd absolutely 100% take that WWE contract, man. That's my goal, my whole life, and that's where I want to be initially is the WWE. I would more than gladly go to Impact Wrestling and want to work my way up to that next level of the WWE. But if the opportunity came for either or, WWE would most definitely be my number one pick.
Sure, of course. That's just like Chris Jericho. He said everywhere he worked was just a stepping stone to get to the WWE. Even when he was in WCW making a lot of money, he said he knew it was just temporary because it was just going to be a stepping stone to get to the WWE. So yeah, so I see what you're saying there, man.
Yeah, exactly.
So before we go, man, time flies, man. We're rolling along. I'm all out of questions, man. So before we go, do you have anything you want to plug? Anything else you want to say? Do you want to cut a promo on somebody, or it's all yours, man. Feel free. The mic is all yours. Go for it.
All right, man. Well, basically, next Saturday, November 25th, UCW here in Halifax, Broadfield Lions Ring. JP Sims goes one-on-one with Julien Young, and as I do every time, I embarrass him, I punk him up, I beat him, I humiliate him, I show everybody why JP Sims is a man, and that's exactly what I'm going to do next Saturday. So if you're here in Halifax, come check the show out. It's going to be a great one. It's the last UCW show of the year. And then that following Saturday, December 1st, Moncton, New Brunswick, IHW, JP Sims also goes one-on-one with Julien Young again. And as I said, going to embarrass him, going to humiliate him, going to beat him again, and send him off. Send him where he belongs, back down the gutter in the new year. So, it's going to be big. The last two shows, I'm really excited for them. They're going to be a great time. And, check them out. And, as always, follow JP Sims on Twitter, JP_Sims, and, Instagram, Sims187. And, you see all the updates of what the future brings for JP Sims.
Wow. All right, man. There you go, man. Well, JP, now just for everyone listening right now, JP is not just a guest, he's a good friend of mine. And it's always a pleasure. I know we talk all the time. It's always a pleasure talking to you. I just want to say, thank you, man. Yeah, I always can count on you, man, whenever I know I get down sometimes, and I always feel comfortable talking to you, and I know I could always count on you, for really good advice. So I just want to say thanks a lot, JP, for becoming my friend, and, it's something I really appreciate, and, from the bottom of my heart, man, thank you.
No problem, brother, and thank you, man. Likewise, it's been great meeting you. Great when we met a couple of years ago. It's been great chatting with you on a weekly, regular basis, and, You've also given me great advice, so I like that we're able to build up that relationship and help each other out, and it's cool to see how far we both come. And I'm very happy that we built a friendship, and it's always a blast chatting with you, whether it be on Facebook or here. No matter what, it's you're a great friend, brother.
Now, damn, I want to hug you right now, man, but I can't, because you're on Skype, and I can't. I could hug the phone. I guess I could hug the phone.
Yeah, we'll hug our phones.
All right, man. Well, one day we'll meet up. I might be coming out to Halifax in 2018. So, if I do, I'll let you know, and we could hook up then. All
Absolutely, right. Man. And same thing. If I'm in Toronto, man, we'll link up, and yeah, man, it's well overdue. That's for sure.
Absolutely, man. All right, well, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. Thank you so much for joining me, and it's not going to be the last. I'm sure there's going to be many more appearances of JP Sims on the Pro Wrestling Personified podcast, man.
Many more, and thank you, man. It's always great chatting with you, and anytime, man, you want me to come back on the show, I'll be here.
All right, well, this has been the Pro Wrestling Personified podcast for the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network. I'm Lewis Carlin. I want to once again thank JP Sims, and until next time, thank you very much. Take care and stay safe, everybody.